So today, I wanted to tell you all the story of our last two D&D sessions. Completely out of context, because one of our party members couldn't make it to the last two. So, while catching him up to speed, everyone else on this fine old channel of mine gets to wonder what the hell's happening in our little campaign. If you've never played D&D before, it can get a little crazy, and you'll see why. So, we wake up after a nice rest in the kobold jail, and we get escorted down the maze-like cave system that they made to take care of our bug problem
there it goes.
and retrieve the tube. After walking a short ways, the kobold guiding us leaves us to, take care of the business. We encounter some big bugs and make quick work of them, and we knew we were getting close to the root of the problem, but we didn't know what to expect as we traveled further down the cave. We came across this large, hollowed-out room at the end, but it was too dark and too large of a room to see anything in it. So, I pulled out one of my scallops that I collected from the pirate ship, handed it to the two-headed ogre in our party, and said, "Hey, throw this as far as you possibly can." He proceeded to throw it as far as he could, which prompted the giant-ass 20-foot-tall bug to crawl off of the ceiling and smash it. Then the queen bug saw some of the party members standing in the hallway where we threw the scallop from, and it was fight time. We lit her up with fairy fire and noticed that the room was not only massive, but it also contained a lot of bug eggs. So after I got obliterated by her acid spit and let the rest of the party do all of the work, we won! After searching the room, we found all the eggs and set them on fire. The DM then informed us that this is, in fact, a cave with no ventilation, and we had just lit a fire. The smoke was annoying, but we were fine. We got rid of it. Two-headed ogre then stuffed some eggs into his backpack so he could eat some later, because why not? We made our way back to the Kobold King to collect our prize, providing a big bug part as proof. He let us have 60% of his pile of loot as pay for our deeds, which came with some magic loot, like a bag of holding, and of course, the dreaded tube. Then he told us to fuck off, so we did. We climbed back up the 100-foot wall in the cave to get closer to the surface, and then we kept on our way. I examined the tube to find a strange carving of a sea serpent on the side, as well as some evil-looking writing on the side that no one else could read. We were warned by the dead corpse hanging from the ceiling to not open it at any costs, so I kept it safe under my hat. On our way out of the cave, we encountered an ogre that we talked our way around, as well as his goblin friends, and some creatures that would have turned us to stone if we looked at them. I tried to use message to tell them that we just wanted to pass, but they were still on edge due to, having some eggs, and also everyone else was trying to throw food at them blindly. Eventually we started moving past them when the ape of the group decided to take a quick peek at the creatures, and then his legs immediately turned to stone. So after we hauled him out of the cave, we snuck past a lizard folk camp to get back to the pirate ship. It took a while, and we slept on the way back, and the fallen angel had a vision of his entire crew dead around him. And I had a war flashback to the Monkey War, of course. With lots of loot, and now everyone's legs functioning again, we boarded the ship to tell Captain Okara about the journey. We told him about most of the loot, most being the key word there, and gave him the gold to distribute to the crew members. I then remembered to give him the dreaded tube under my hat, which he with no hesitation started to open, and after I screamed at him not to, he simply did not care and did it anyway. He found only a map inside, which led to the middle of the ocean. The two-headed ogre then hypothesized, with all of his mighty knowledge, that the treasure must be in the middle of the ocean. The captain was dumbfounded by this knowledge, and he decided that our next move was to sail to the middle of the ocean and retrieve this treasure. He gave us back all the gold that we got from our little looting spree, and prompted us to go into town and buy as many water-breathing potions as we could, while he and the crew went to pay the kobolds a second visit, quote-unquote. Then, in secret, expressed to the fallen angel that there might be some traitors among us, and to keep an eye on us party members. So the second session is things getting a bit more weird. Once the second session began, we all started walking towards a small town and started to explore the shops there. The first one we went to was a potion shop where we met a long, spindly man who was also mute for some reason. We gave him chalk and paper to write on so he could communicate with us, but after realizing that chalk on paper was stupid and wouldn't work, we gave him a slate instead so the chalk would actually work. After this, we bought all of his water-breathing potions, being 4, and then asked for his help to learn how to make some more. Anyways, he taught us the recipe for water-breathing potions, and we were ready to leave, but then I asked him, "Hey, give me the coolest potion you got, sir." He then proceeded to give me a big hill giant strength potion, which I haggled down because I am a bard and I have massive persuasion skills. Next, we went to the armor store and met a very large man with a big beard, and he sold us some studded leather armor and told us about his stories of his past adventuring days. Unfortunately, his wife keeps him from adventuring now. Women, am I right, Squidward? After that, we went outside and looked at the bulletin board at the center of town to find some wanted posters, as well as problems in town that needed to be solved. We saw 2 interesting posters, one reporting missing people in shipments with an unknown source, as well as a wanted poster for Captain Okara, as well as the entire rest of his crew. After making a joke that I stole from Jimmy Neutron,
"Hi, I'd like to turn in the escaped convicts. If I just turn in 2 of them, how much do I get?"
we continued making the rounds through town, while also asking around about these disappearances. We went back to Big Armor Man to ask him, but he had no info for us, other than the fact that his ores and materials shipments have been going missing since last week. Then we went to the weapons guy of town. He also had no information for us, but we got some supplies and weapons. Then we split up to look for anything interesting in town, and also some of the party members wanted to go to the general store. I opted to climb a bell tower, but our other party members went to the general store. The person running this place was essentially a robotic man, but not like an actual robot, more like he was the epitome of NPC. He kind of spoke like this, and he lived a very generic life in which he had a beautiful wife and 2 children. And his catchphrase was, "Have a generic day." And by the end of this interaction, everyone wanted him dead. Back at the bell tower, I was being yelled at for climbing the bell tower by the town's guards. And then I asked them, "Is there anything else fun to climb in this town?" And they told me about the town's tree. It sat at the center of town and it was very large. So I immediately jumped off of the bell tower, prompting me to take 4 points of falling damage, and then I ran towards the town tree. The rest of the party entered the town's shady tavern, where they decided to ask around for trails on the disappearance cases, as well as maybe find some info on why Captain Okara was wanted. The party found this man who wore a very long and edgy coat with a big edgy hat, who seemed to be also a little undead and knew a bit about the captain, and he wanted to help us out. By the way, we were on board with killing the entire crew now because, hey, free gold and a free ship. The deal became that we would take care of the disappearing people and shipments, and then this edgy dude would hide out near the ship and wait for us to get back so we could strike. After we asked his name, he pulled out his cool scythe on a chain trademark, and he said to call him Grim Reaper. He went upstairs for the night, and then the party talked to the bartender, who apparently hated his job and also his life. Meanwhile, back at the tree, I was getting ready to climb. The kids who were having fun in the tree, they all let me climb up to the highest point, where I found some apples. I started eating an apple, and then a squirrel approached me, so I gave him an apple seed. After a good animal handling roll, he ate it, and he became my friend. And then another squirrel approached, and I gave him a seed too. And he also became my friend. Eventually, all of the squirrels in the tree became my friend by the end of the night, long after all the kids went home. Since it was nighttime now, the party came outside to check on me, and they had found that I had befriended all 33 squirrels in this tree. They wanted me to come inside the tavern so we could all sleep for the night, but I refused. The 2-headed ogre became peeved, and he decided to berate my squirrel friends, threatening to eat them. And then he threw an apple at a squirrel sitting next to me, and it became a cloud of red mist. Then he decided, oh, hey, I have Speak with Animals. So he used Speak with Animals, and then found that all the squirrels were now yelling and cursing at him. All 32 remaining squirrels readied their nuts and threw them at the ogre, dealing 16 points of nut damage. After this, I actually agreed to come down and say goodnight to all the squirrels. After waking up, we started to immediately brew some potions inside the tavern for our underwater journey in the future, but we were asked kindly to go outside by the female tavern keeper. So we did. After getting yelled at to not brew potions in the middle of the street, we went to an alley instead. While we were brewing potions, I had a brain blast moment. My idea was, we bring the squirrels to the ship to help us fight the pirates, and we take them on as our new pirate crew. So after rolling a nat 20 on my persuasion speech to the squirrels, they all came out of the tree and into the alley to start their adventuring lives anew with us. Grim Reaper then met us in the alley, stared down at the 32 squirrels, and said, you know what? I won't judge. As long as we get the job done and we kill Okara, that's all I care about. So he told them where the ship was docked and told them, take the squirrels and hide out and wait for us to attack. He agreed somehow, and we went to go find the disappearing people and also stuff. All we knew is that it was happening out in the forest somewhere near town, so we just kind of kept walking until we found a clearing in the woods with a wooden shack. It had no windows and just a locked door, so our immediate course of action was to ram it open. I was standing in the back of the ram, and I turned to my right and noticed that there was a large scarecrow automaton as soon as we got the door open. He slapped my shit in for 14 HP and frightened the hell out of me. This prompted the ogre to turn around and slap its dumb pumpkin head off, and it fell to the ground. But the fallen angel entered the hut to find that it was a witch and her pets. She was brewing something in a big cauldron, and she had a big pile of arms across the room. Her dog and crocodile sprang up to attack, and after we got a few hits in, I got fed up and decided to shatter her entire fucking house down. The witch tried to flee by turning invisible, but then I lit her up with fairy fire, so it didn't work. We clonked her on the head and she passed out, so we took her back to town. After she woke up about a couple hours later, we persuaded her to give us one of her spare fingers so we could collect the reward for solving the case of the disappearing people and supplies. She was kind of pissed that we blew up her house, but we really didn't care. So then we presented the finger to the town guards, and they gave us the reward of 500 gold. And that's where it ends. We still have a tied-up witch, some spare arms, 32 squirrels with an edgy Grim Reaper man, and a dream.